Good afternoon, boys and girls. It's Friday. Looking forward to the weekend. April 3rd. How are you and how has your week been? Monday morning, I'm going to be posting lessons for you to do in Connect Ed, Studies Weekly, Zern, and Discovery Ed. And then Wednesday, you can pick up your Chromebook so that you will have all your own stuff and you can work on your own computer at home. So anyway, chapter 10 today, summertime. Yep, it's going to be summertime here before you know it. Now it was summertime and the people were visiting. Sometimes Uncle Henry and Uncle George or Grandpa came riding out of the big woods to see Pa. Ma would come to the door and ask how all the folks were, and she would say, Charles is in the clearing. Then she would cook more dinner than usual, and at dinner time would be longer. Pa and Ma and the visitors would sit talking for a little while before they went back to work. Sometimes Ma let Mary and Laura go across the road and down the hill to see Mrs. Peterson. The Petersons had just moved in. Their house was new and was always neat because Mrs. Peterson had no little girls to mess it up. She was a Swede, and she let Laura and Mary look at her pretty things that she had brought from Sweden, laces and colored embroidery and china. Mrs. Peterson talked Swedish to them, and they talked English to her, and they understood each other perfectly. She always gave them each a cookie when they left, and they nibbled the cookie slowly as they walked home. Laura nibbled always exactly half of hers, and Mary nibbled exactly half of hers, and the other halves were saved for baby Carrie. Then when they got home, Carrie had 2 half cookies, and that was a whole cookie. That wasn't right. They always wanted to do it to divide it fairly with Carrie. Still, if Mary saved half of hers and Laura ate half of hers, that wouldn't be fair. They didn't know what to do, so each saved half and they gave it to baby Carrie, and they always felt that somehow it wasn't quite fair. Could you have solved that math problem? Let me know if you come up with the answer. Sometimes a neighbor sent word that the family was coming to spend the day. Then Ma did extra cleaning and cooking and opened up a package of store sugar, and on that day said a wagon would be coming up the gate in the morning and there would be strange children to play with. When Mr. and Mrs. Hughitt came, they brought Eva and Clarence with them. Eva was a pretty girl with dark eyes and black curls. She played carefully to keep her dress clean and smooth. Mary liked that, but Laura liked better to play with Clarence. Clarence had red hair and freckles and always laughed. His clothes were pretty too. He wore a blue suit buttoned all the way up the front with bright buttons and trimmed with braid. The strips of copper across the toes of his shoes glittered that Laura wished she could be a boy. Little girls didn't wear copper toes. Laura and Clarence ran and shouted and climbed trees while Mary and Eva walked nicely together and talked. Ma and Mrs. Hughitt visited and looked at a lady's book, which Mrs. Hughitt had bought, and Pa and Mr. Hughitt looked at the horses and the crops, and they smoked their pipes. Once Aunt Lottie came to spend